Now, welcome back. It is the 14th of June, further maths 5 a day, and let's have a look at the first question. Okay, so second day in a row, I think there's been an algebraic fractions question. So I am adding, well, I'm going to make my denominator 16, lowest common multiple of 8 and 6, x and y, which means I need to multiply the left one by 2y, so that's going to give me 10y. I need to multiply the right one by, well, it's just x, isn't it? So that's going to be 9x. And that's it. I can't do anything else with that. Can't simplify anything else. Question done. Next question. Given that y equals this, work out the coordinates of the point where the gradient is 7. Gradient question, so differentiate. So dy dx is equal to 5 minus 2x. And then I want that gradient to equal minus 7. So therefore it must be the case that 2x equals 5 minus 7, which is going to give me 12, which means that x is equal to 6. I've got my x coordinate, I need my y coordinate, so putting it back into here, which is 5 times 6, which is equal to 30, minus 6 squared, which is 36, which is minus 6. So the coordinate is just 6 minus 6. Question done. Next question, find the nth term. Well, I know without doing any maths at all, it's going to be a quadratic, because we get lots of quadratics in these things, but let's do it anyway. So I'm adding 1, I'm adding 3, I'm adding 5, which means my common difference is 2. So therefore my second difference is 2, which means my a term is 1. 7, 8, 11. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. Take these away, it gives me 6, 4 and 2. Now, if this is the first video you've watched, you might see the method where you do a plus b plus c and whatever. I can't remember what they are. That is fine. I just don't like it because you risk making an error. So what I do is I work out what the n squared term is. I take that away, and that leaves behind a linear sequence, which in this case is minus 2n plus 8, which means my nth term is going to be the a from here, so n squared, minus the 2n plus 8, which comes from here, and to me, that's just nice and easy. Next question. The line L1 has equation like this. The line L2 goes to the origin, and is perpendicular. Here we go again. The lines L1 and L2 intersect at A. The line L1 crosses at C. Find the area of OAC. Okay. Now, normally I would say, don't worry. On this case, I am going to try and draw reasonable diagrams. I'm going to start by rewriting this as y is equal to minus 2/3 x plus 32 over 3. Which just means, I'm going to draw it down here, which just means I can draw a reasonable diagram where I know there's a negative gradient and it goes through 32. Just helps me know. Then I'm going to draw a perpendicular line, so that's going to go through the origin and look like this. And then A is the point they meet. So what else is there? So A is the meet. Line L, first one, crosses the y-axis at C. So this is C, and I want this area here. Okay. So straight away, I know I want a vertical triangle, not a horizontal triangle. First thing, let's try and work out the gradient of both lines. So m is minus 2/3, which means the perpendicular gradient is 3 over 2, which means line L2, because there's no c term, is just 3 over 2x. So far, so good. Then I need to find out a, which is where 3 over 2x is equal to minus 2/3 x plus 32 over 3, multiplied by the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3, which is 6, and that tells me that, 6 divided by 2 is 3, so 3 times 3 is 9x, 6 divided by 3 is 2, so that's minus 4x, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 32 times 2 is 64. Add 4x to both sides, gives me 13x is equal to 64. I was hoping for a nice number, but it's not, which means that x is equal to 13 over 64, and actually I can just write it in one go, can't I? I'll tell you why. So that a equals 64 over 13, just work that out, and then I know from here that I multiply that by 3 over 2, which is going to give me 96 over 13. Now let's think about what I've got. I'm going to zoom in here. I want to work out, I'm going to do a different colour. I want to work out the height of my triangle, and I want to work out the perpendicular height, or whatever you want to call it. I know what this is because that's the x value, so therefore I know this length is the x value of A. I need C in order to work out what the height of my triangle is, or in other words, the base, if I'm looking at my triangle on the side. So let's look at line L1 and find out with line L1 what happens when C equals 0. Well, actually, I don't need to do a lot here, do I? Because I've already worked this out. It's 32 over 3. So I can combine all of this and say the area of my triangle is a half height times base, times the perpendicular height, which is going to be 64 over 13, times the base, which is going to be 32 over 3. This could be a non-calculated question, couldn't it? But I'm going to get my calculator out just to get it right. And that gives me 124 over 39. Now, just for your reference, that is the same as 26.3. So I might just write down approximately 26.3. But unless it says otherwise, that is an acceptable answer. And that is today done. Good. That last question was quite difficult. Adds to a reasonable mix of questions before that. But that last question definitely was question of the day. Let me know how it went for you. Do like, subscribe. See you tomorrow.